Hello everyone, I'm Stan Zaslavsky from Eagle Vision Property. I'm here today with Darren Comber from DCF Design Group. We're here to find out a little bit more about Darren and his company, as well as to talk about design and town planning. I've heard a lot of people ask the question, what is the difference between a designer and an architect?
Well, Stan, I think these days there is very little difference between a designer and an architect.
Right.
I guess traditionally there was some differences. I guess if you want to drill down to the finer points, it's more as at the point of education, the architect has had more formal training, but in reality, when you get down to the skills and the services offered by a design practice or a architectural practice, there's very little difference between the two. They can both offer all the same range of services, and it's more about the experience of the individuals and the teams in those practices that makes the difference, rather than stating that one has more or less skills than the other.
Fair enough. So I guess then, what about the fact that if somebody has a favourite designer, are you really hiring a designer or a practice?
Well, as I mentioned before, Stan, you really are hiring a practice. You may be going to an interview with a designer that you like, or an architect that you like, but ultimately you are hiring the entire practice. A project will last up to 1, 2 to 3 years. Within that time frame, Stan, there is so much work that goes into, I guess, developing a home or a project. There's so many skill sets required to actually engineer and cohesively bring that together. Not only is there the immediate team in the practice, but there is also an extended team of specialist consultants that may need to provide some input at specific stages of the process. So you really are hiring an entire practice to, I guess, as we call it, be the conductor of the orchestra. Because obviously in an orchestra there's lots of people playing the instruments. In our project there are a lot of specialists all providing individual roles. So someone has to conduct all the knowledge and skills into one cohesive project. So.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Darren. And so apart from design, what other services do you offer?
Well, Stan, our practice offers everything from the first initial consultation right through to handing over the keys at the end. If we look at that process, there is the initial discovery, feasibility, there's concept designs through to design approval. There may also be town planning. We offer those services as well to help lodge the planning application, negotiate through all the rigmarole of council rules and regulations, and we've all heard objectors, so we handle all those as well. Finally, we move into the actual construction documentation phase and working through the building. So we handle all the designs, permits, and then superintendents, which helps bring the whole build process back in line with all the work that's been previously done through the design process. So really we are offering a full service stand.
Fantastic. Okay. And then you've just explained that clients are really hiring a practice. So what do you think makes your practice so successful?
Well, I think if we look at it carefully, Stan, there's probably about 3 key parts that have made our practice successful. I think the initial discovery and feasibility process. Then I would look at the planning success that we've had through with applications, and thirdly, I think we've got the continuity that we offer throughout the whole project. If you don't mind, I'll run through those 3 really briefly. The actual discovery and feasibility stage really works to find out what the core needs of the project are and the core needs of our clients. We then help them structure the best method of getting through from the start to the finish, and make sure that that whole process for them is seamless for them, but also it makes sure that we cover everything that they need, and we have a nice strategy to get the project through. The planning success we've had, Stan, is because we offer a very comprehensive planning process, and that allows us to make sure that we run the entire planning process. And we have found that over the last 4 or 5 years we've had about a 98% success rate in getting planning through, and that's because we have a very comprehensive approach. We're not really just doing a little bit of piecemeal work here and there. We make sure that everything is in the planning application and that there's a smooth process forward, And that's really surprisingly for us. We've realised that it's got us through the planning process in 3 to 5 months, rather than those sort of horror stories you hear of 6, 12, 18 months. So that's been a great thing. And the last thing, Stan, is really just continuity. Projects need continuity right from the start, right through to the end part. So we work through with the clients, we work through with the consultants, and we work through with the actual builders at the end. So that continuity is important.
That's fantastic. That's really good. So how about the other side of it? You handle both the families and the developer. They seem to be so distinct. How do you manage that brief initially?
Yeah, I think most of the public would have a vision of them being completely separate entities and being so distinctly different. But in reality, we have a similar, about half of the process for the briefing process is the same between the family for the home and for the developer, because we realise there are occupants living in those spaces that we're creating. But first and foremost, the initial part of the discovery process is actually quite different. It helps us work out what are all the emotional and lifestyle needs of the family, and make sure that all those things are encompassed, and we help them work through their budget. And while they have a list of needs, we work out what the impacts of that are in budget, time, and what have you. And then we look at the actual developer, and we try and work out for him, or help them realise what yields they can accommodate through a process, whether they're going to match their financial gains and needs. So really, we've got two distinct groups, but they are similar by the occupants.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's great that your process handles it. Now, I guess it's been a great initial sort of discussion, and we've covered quite a lot of ground. Where can people learn a bit more about DCF?
There's probably two ways, Stan. I think the first way is to hop onto dcfdesign.com. That's our website. On there we have a lot of case studies of our recent and past projects, both in the housing and also the development arenas, and there are some commercial projects in there as well. Not only the projects, we also have a lot of information about the processes and our services, so that people can familiarise themselves with what our industry is all about before they come and see us.
Brilliant.
And if clients want to, they can always give us a call and come and see us, the old-fashioned way.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, Darren.
Thanks.